Who's your top 3 right now in the Big Ten?
I'd say Purdue, and then I would say 2A and 2B are Illinois and Wisconsin.
All right.
And then a tier behind that, I'd put Ohio State.
What sets Wisconsin apart from Illinois?
That's a good question. I'm not sure that I have them ahead of Illinois per se, because I think Illinois is gelling here and coming along and progressing pretty nicely as well. I don't know if anything does, to be honest with you. I guess their resume sets them apart. They have a better resume than Illinois, but Illinois has handled Rutgers in one of the tougher environments the Big Ten has to offer, and then gets a win against Florida Atlantic on Tuesday night as well. So I guess if I'm talking about what sets them apart, well, head-to-head matchup against Marquette, like Wisconsin beat them, Illinois loses to them at home. And I just think that probably from a resume standpoint, if you're looking at the last 2 weeks, even though Illinois has done some really good things, I think Wisconsin has them beat in that regard.
Yeah, we're going to find out a lot about both of these teams on Saturday. Illinois plays Tennessee, Wisconsin plays Arizona. I'll tell you this: I was at the Illinois FAU game, and Marcus Domask, that meme
he's good
of Shaq being like, "I'm sorry, I was not familiar with your game." Yeah, that was me for Marcus Domask. I did not see him being a guy that could get you at 33 the way that he did. Right, like everything was just kind of all right. I'm gonna get to my spot. I'm gonna elevate.
He posted a ton last year. Yeah. He's actually pretty good at it too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he put 33 Obviously. Up on Florida Atlantic in the Garden. So, no, but we know how good that Illinois team can be defensively, and everyone knows about the point guard issues that they have.
Yeah.
Having 2 guys now, and not just like Terrence Shannon's really good, and he's averaging like 22.
Hold on. Didn't you tweet something about Terrence Shannon at me during the draft?
Probably.
I think you did. Should we revisit that?
What was it? What did I say? I don't even remember.
Something about me drafting him way too high, and that he shouldn't have even been picked. But I'm the GM of the year out here.
You are.
I'm looking at KenPom, Terrence Shannon 4th in the MVP voting, and first of all, Jeff again bringing the podcast down. His draft picks were awful, and his selection process was even worse. There's all these bigs. I draft Edie first. So obviously what you should do is then go and say, all right, I could draft Hunter Dickinson. I could draft Donovan Clingan. I could draft Armando Bacot. I could draft, I feel like I'm forgetting one of the better centers in college basketball.
There's a million of them. There's
a lot of them, right? Like there's a ton of guys. And instead he's just like, all right, I'll take Hunter. Just match me pick for pick instead of taking, let's say, a point guard, like Tyler Kolek. You could say that he is probably one of the few elite point guards. Jeff is really bringing this thing down. That's the only thing. That's my point. Jeff is bringing this thing down.
Yeah, I like how you made sure. That's the 3rd time we've gotten to the Jeff is bringing down the podcast without him here. Make sure you get your shots.
It's the narrative that we need to push here.
Yes, well, we know. But the thing, so my apologies to Terrence Shannon. I will take the L on that one, Hummel. Especially if he keeps.
Thank you to me and Terrence Shannon as his GM.
And he's also a lot taller than I realized. Like I thought he was like 6'4".
Yeah, dude, he's a freight train. He's 6'6", and he is like just in transition elite.
Mm-hmm.
He is awesome.
So when you have 2 guys that can go out and get their own shot like that, I think to me that's what I didn't realize Illinois had, right? Because if everything is on Terrence Shannon, I don't know if that's necessarily what you want to build an offense around. But if you don't have a point guard and you have 2 guys that can go kind of get their own, and look, Florida Atlantic, their wings are, I love Elijah Martin and Nelly Davis, but they're like 6'3", 6'4". Domask and Terrence Shannon are like 6'5", 6'6", and I think most high major wings are 6'5" and 6'6", and they were able to take advantage of that. But if you have 2 guys that can kind of go get your own, and you don't have to worry about having somebody make easy stuff for other people, it might be a hard way to win games. But when you are as good as they are defensively, I think it can work. I'm in on Illinois.
No, I really like them too, and I think from a chemistry standpoint, they are substantially better from what we saw last year.
I don't think it's hard to be substantially better.
No, I mean, I think but look at like the shot selection last year. Mm-hmm. It was so funny to me that they shot the most threes on the worst or second worst percentage in the league when they were the best 2-point shooting team in the Big Ten. And it was like they just refused to go to the basket. They refused to drive the ball. They wanted to shoot threes. And look, they're still going to shoot him. They're going to get him up. But I do think it's a much more mature group. Thanks to the beauty of technology, I was able to locate this. It was actually a text that was sent to me and Jeff from one Rob Dauster. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
What you said?
Please. Tell me what I said.
After the pick was made, you said Terrence Shannon with the 12th pick is insanity, Robbie. Granted, he is now the 4th candidate in Ken Pom MVP. And I said, who would you have taken there, Mr. GM? And you said any of your next 7 picks, which I don't know who those were. But then the quote of the year from Rob Dauster: if Terrence Shannon played in the SEC, he would be Nick Smith.
Okay. To be clear on that, I was making fun of T.O. We have an inside joke where T.O. said if Drew Timmy played in the SEC, he'd be Tolu Smith.
Yeah, and you know what? That was unforgivable. That was on the All-American show last year, and he said, look, Tolu Smith is good, and I understand that. But Drew Timmy is a 3-time All-American.
Yeah,
so
Drew Timmy.
You can say what you want. The text don't lie, Rob. This is what it says.
Okay, so that was you just outed me, man. No, look, Terrence Shannon has been awesome this year. He's been a lot better than I thought he would be.
12th pick, value pick.
He's a top 5 pick right now.
I agree. But you know what? That's what
GM
good
of the
GMs
year,
do.
Robbie Hummel.